Coming up on a live edition of Hoge and Jahns here on Sunday morning. Well, pretty much the greatest game we've ever seen. And we got a lot to talk about. Jahns was there. I was in our CHGO studios. Everywhere. It was crazy. Wherever you're watching this game, let's go through it. Your voicemails, everything, likes and dislikes. Hoge and Jahns starts right now. What's up? Welcome in. Hoge and Jahns back with you, presented by Old National Bank. Every play matters, whether it's on the field or in your financial life. The best teams win by delivering excellence at every level. Old National Bank, where relationships and results matter. Member FDIC. I can't imagine a better way to describe what the Chicago Bears did last night than that Old National Bank. Reed, welcome in on very little sleep. Adam Jahns joining me, Adam Hoge, you and everybody watching live. Welcome in. We're going to see if our brains work enough for this one. I could not sleep when I got home last night. Our producer, Katie, was at the game. Johnsy, you, of course, was there. I'm sure you were in a similar spot when you got home. Just where are you at mentally right now at 11 a.m. as we're live on YouTube?
Well, anyway, when you're doing that expert read of Old National Bank, I'm thinking the best teams win in the most crucial of moments, and we continue to see that time and time again from the Chicago Bears, specifically Caleb Williams. It's unbelievable. It's honestly still surreal. I'm proud of myself for not tweeting during a portion of that game yesterday and kind of soaking in what we were about to witness, like what was actually transpiring from the Chicago Bears. It's still unbelievable. Honestly, like I can't believe it. These are the Chicago Bears. They're the different Chicago Bears. They're Ben Johnson Chicago Bears. They're Caleb Williams Chicago Bears. And they're moving on. They're moving on to the divisional round.
Got at least one more game, and we'll see who they end up playing. It'll be decided by the Eagles and 49ers later today. We got plenty of time to talk about that during the week. Limited amount of time to go through all of this today. I did want to start with this thought that I can't just get out of my head this morning, Johnsy. You know, a little over a year ago, we were talking about a team that was bleeping swear words on Hard Knocks. And last night in the postgame locker room, the head coach is just openly saying, F the Packers. And I get that multiple times. And I get that they technically still bleeped it out on the video they posted, but that's different. It's not an HBO, show where, you're supposed, what's coming. But they still put it in there and they left it in there. Like the Bears didn't have to do that. And I felt like waking up this morning and watching that video for like the 9th time already of Ben Johnson screaming F the Packers. I could not stop thinking about that contrast of where we were talking about Hard Knocks a year ago with Matt Eberflus and then bleeping out swear words on a show that everybody knows everybody's swearing. It's football. And then they just put that out last night. It was incredible.
So I'm trying to imagine what that conversation would be like if it actually reached the highest level of George McCaskey, knowing what he did with Hard Knocks, like you said.
Right.
This is how I think it transpired. Okay. F it, send it. Like if there's any time that swearing would be allowed by George McCaskey, like this would be the instance. And
beating the Packers in the playoffs.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. We know what this rivalry means to George McCaskey. We know what's transpired the past 2 decades covering this team. And I want to give credit to the Bears social media team for actually putting it out like that. And I know they've probably got some okays, but that was awesome. There's not many glimpses that are as authentic as that. I feel like everything can be edited these days.
Right.
So kudos to them for sharing it like that, unedited. I'm sure there's a little editing going on, but that was outstanding.
Yeah, and I think it certainly encapsulated an incredible night at Soldier Field, which I feel like not being there, I wasn't really able to absorb it until I went back and I rewatched. I mean, I rewatched the fourth quarter from start to finish when I got home last night at 3 a.m, and we're going to go through all that right now. But kind of being finally in a room by myself with the volume jacked up and kind of and really
I get it. No Carm, no brags.
Yeah. It was just it was incredible. So if you were at the game last night, shout out to you because, and I'm going to go through some of this stuff. The crowd 100% made a difference, and it made me think back to the miracle against the Packers of a month ago or whatever that was. Not even at this point, and that decided who was the home team last night and how much that mattered. That ended up mattering, and thank you in advance if you're the Bears. Probably saying thank you to the Eagles not playing your starters last week, because otherwise, if you're playing the Eagles, you could have been going back to Philly, and instead you get a home game. So like all that stuff ends up mattering, and the crowd definitely mattered last night. Speaking of the crowd and everybody supporting this show, we have a $100 super chat right off the top that will, and I think it's just kind of perfectly said here from the Iceberg, who always supports us a lot with his super chats at CHGO and here in Hoge Jahns. Just nice and simple. Green Bay who? Get your money's worth there for $100. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Green Bay who?
Yes. We are here all the time. The 3 episodes a week, always the morning after games. We go live here on YouTube. So if you're just joining us for the first time, please hit that subscribe button. We've been doing this show now for 15 seasons. No, that's not right. We've been covering the team for 15 seasons. We've been doing this show for 11. And we certainly have not covered anything like we saw last night. This is only the 3rd playoff game since we've started doing Hoge Jahns, and it's the first playoff win, and certainly the way it went was quite incredible. So please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. Thank you very much for being here on this Sunday morning. We kind of lead into 9 more hours of football, which I know I can't wait for. 3 games today, Johns.
I might fall asleep maybe in the early game, but we'll recover for the final 2 games.
Thanks to our friends at Goldbelly, I have authentic buffalo wings from the Anchor Bar, the original buffalo wings that were sent to my house that I might crack out here for the Bills game.
Love it.
Dude. So we'll talk more about that later in the week, but there it is. Goldbelly, 20% off with code CHGO. That came fast. I was like, oh, these just showed up at my door.
I'm barely awake right now, but found the Goldbelly. I was there last night. I just told them before we started, I'm running off of no sleep. The adrenaline in that stadium. I was texting my dad, like, I can't believe I just witnessed history. And I said to my friends, everyone talks about the 85 Bears, everyone who's older than us. So we'll be talking about this.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not
I was trying to tell my son that this morning. I was just because I finally, obviously I didn't see them last night, and I was just like, you don't even understand what happened last night. I was 100% that guy. I'm like, you don't even know, like, in the history of our lives at our age, the magnitude of what transpired. By the way, Katie, I do want to point out, you had a fan at the tailgate yesterday. We had somebody there specifically was like, you have to get Katie on the show more. She's great. And she wanted me to.
And you have to come to the tailgate now.
Yeah.
I know. I can't believe I never made it out to one, but that's really
especially nice. If you went to the game yesterday. That's inexcusable.
Yeah. And we were down there at 1 o'clock because you guys scared me about the traffic. So I told my sibling, I told everyone, I was like, we are leaving the house at 1 p.m. What we're going to do from there, I don't know. So we ended up going to First Draft and a few bars in South Loop and then tailgating all day.
Katie, if I can make the tailgate, you can make the tailgate.
Okay.
That's true.
All right.
That's true. Johns was there.
I was there.
Next week.
Oh,
next week.
Next week. Okay. All right. I'll text Emma.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Oh, yeah. You can already get the link, by the way, if you want to come to the tailgate next week, allchgo.com/events. The link is live if you want to join us at next week's tailgate, which it is a home game. So that link is live. All right, Jahns, let's get into this because I mentioned this in my instant reaction on the postgame show last night. So many things transpired. And like you mentioning how you just sort of stopped tweeting to make sure you were soaking everything in. Like I kind of stopped taking notes because it was just like a little too crazy. And so when we got to the post game, I was like, I can't even recall every little detail that just transpired. So when I get home, it's 3 a.m. I know I'm not going to sleep. I'm like, I am going to put on the TV copy, like even the long version with the commercials, and just try to like re-experience what played out. There's so many little things. And I want to point out too, something that Packers safety Javon Bullard said after the game in the Packers locker room. And I get where he's coming from, but he's wrong. He says, no disrespect to them, but it ain't blank that they did. It's us. We got to finish. We whooping they ass the whole game. We got to finish. Chicago ain't do blank special. So, and there's a lot of truth to that. The Packers made a lot of mistakes, but I think to not give the Bears credit for some of the incredible plays they made and the impact that a lot of the players on defense and the crowd had to lead to some of those mistakes the Packers made. And I want to go through this. So we'll start early fourth quarter. It's 21-6. There's so many little plays I feel like we're going to forget in all this that mattered so much. But Ozzie Trapillo gets beat by Lucas Van Ness. But Johnny on the spot manages to recover the fumble. There were a number of fumbles in this game that like didn't go the Bears' way. This one could have gone the Packers' way, but Ozzie jumped on it. But it did back them up almost out of field goal range. And we talk about Iceman with the quarterback, but Cairo Santos has been so clutch here, and the kickers mattered so much last night. Brandon McManus was a disaster for the Packers, and Cairo they just lost a bunch of yards on third down. He goes out there and like it was nothing, hits that 51-yard field goal. That field goal was massive to make it 21-9 compared to turning the ball. I think there's so many moments we're about to go over, Jahns, where I feel like if they turn that ball over there, the game's over. There's like 5 other of these moments where I'm like, if this just goes the other way, the game's over.
And you back up, you think about Brandon McManus missing the 55-yarder right before halftime.
Yeah, earlier. Yeah.
The elements were a factor. I know it stopped snowing. I know the snow that had gathered on the field had melted, but the conditions were a factor. They still were during warmups. I know it wasn't as bad during the game, but Brandon McManus was missing during warmups. So was Cairo Santos. But Cairo Santos knows Soldier Field. He adjusted to it. He's been outstanding this season, kicking in the elements. How could you not love that? Forget liking that. Loving that. The Bears don't win without what Cairo Santos did. And like on my likes, I actually have like Cairo Santos' willingness to step in and tackle Josh freaking Jacobs on a kickoff return.
Yeah.
Like, that matters too. It really does. He slows him down. But I know what you're saying. In that moment, to have Cairo Santos kick that field goal when the opposition, their kicker is struggling, it's crucial.
Yeah, I apologize because we're going to probably overlap with some of the likes and dislikes coming up, which are sponsored by the Upside app coming up here. But I do want we do got to go through this fourth quarter. So it's 21-9 now after that field goal, and Cairo actually has his one F up of the night because he goes for one of those dirty kicks and kicks it short, and the Packers get the ball at the 40, and you're like, oh, like first of all, you settled for the field goal, now you kick it short. You're still down 12. Like it still doesn't feel like things are going your way. And this is where the defense really stepped up. And some guys that we've been talking endlessly here, Jahns, about them not being 100% or not delivering really came up big because on the defense forces a 3-and-out on second down. Jalen Johnson's in man coverage against Christian Watson. And just, it looked like for a moment, the old Jalen Johnson. This is the same guy who in the locker room a few days ago just said, I'm not going to be myself till next season when I get a full off season. But he lines up in a moment where Christian Watson's been killing the Bears this year, locks down on him, gets his hand around and punches the ball out. It was great coverage. It was great play, and get the stop on second down. And then on third down, Montez Sweat gets his motor going and has a massive quarterback hit on Jordan Love and forces an intentional grounding on the same play. Jordan Love had one intentional grounding penalty in his entire career coming into this game, and he had two. And Montez Sweat stepped up there. I got to be honest, when I first heard Ben Johnson gave Montez Sweat a game ball, I was like, oh, really? But as soon as I rewatched the fourth quarter, Ben was completely right. Like, he was a beast in that fourth quarter. I don't even really care what the final stats said. He was affecting the quarterback. It had a massive role in this game flipping.
Absolutely. And those are two players that you need. If they have momentum, if they have this adrenaline rolling like they did in the fourth quarter, could you imagine how much better this Bears defense will be this coming week when your best players are actually playing like it?
Well, and that's the thing, because they gotta keep it up. But I mean,
Yeah,
really,
like Montez Sweat's final stat sheet: 3 assisted tackles and 3 quarterback hits. But I would say he was one of the Bears' best defenders second half, especially in the fourth quarter.
So they force a punt, and this is where special teams came in. And just to be frank, the Bears' special teams, I mean, if Lance Briggs doesn't give them an A+, in maybe an A because the one bad kickoff, like, we're gonna have a conversation on Monday, because they just kicked the Packers' ass on special teams, and it was such a big difference. But they set up this awesome wall return, Jahns, and for those that might not understand what that means, like on a punt return, one of the ways you can set it up is basically trying to leak your guys out to form a wall along the numbers. So if you can get that returner to the wall, basically between the numbers and the sideline, you typically get a pretty good running lane. And it was really well executed. They even bluffed the rush and then came off that, which is typically how you set it up. And Devin Duvernay had I don't even know do you have it in front of you? I don't even know what the yardage was, but it was a massive punt return to set up the eventual touchdown drive, which the Bears needed so badly.
22-yard punt return.
Okay. It felt like 40.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
because he kind of came from the other side too.
Yeah. 22 yards.
So on the ensuing touchdown drive, Jahns, this is where DeAndre Swift gets his moment. It's 2nd and 10, and he was dead to rights on this little bubble. I don't even know what kind of screen it was supposed to be to the right side. But the Packers had it completely sniffed out. It looked like it was going to be a loss of like 5 or 6 yards at least. He somehow bounces it back to the left. Caleb goes in there to try to lead block for him too, so he gets credit. And instead of it being a loss, he picks up 7 yards to set up 3rd and 3, and then he scores a touchdown on the very next play with a key block from Colston Loveland, who had 2 massive catches on that drive, almost caught the touchdown, had to go out for a play to get a breather. He goes right back in and has a key block on the touchdown for DeAndre Swift, which makes it 21-16 after the extra point.
One observation on the touchdown run by DeAndre Swift. Go rewatch it. Okay. For all the talk that Keyshawn Nixon did coming into this game, watch his effort at the goal line. Business decision? Question mark?
Bad.
I get that he's about to score, but it's the playoffs. You don't know. We saw Christian Watson go head first flying into the end zone, and the Bears went for the contact, Tyreek Stevenson, and the ball came out. You don't know what's going to happen. Make some contact. So here's Nixon, a player in the headlines, because he wanted to get what was the saying? Get back.
Get back. I mean, he wanted the Bears. That's what they all.
He was part of that noise in Green Bay. Yep. He didn't want anything to do with DeAndre Swift on that play.
And I saw a number of former Packers players on Twitter call that out. I think Warren Sharp was the one who tweeted the video, but I saw David Bakhtiari, basically agree with it. That there was another player who was like, you can punch the ball out there. Like, what are you doing? It's even worse when you do all that talking and then you don't deliver. I know it was bad.
They should be mad. They should. You can't talk all that talk during the week and then jump out of the way on a touchdown run by your rival.
Right. And then this is where we get one of the most legendary cutaways. Shout out to Amazon Prime for this one. It was after this touchdown that they flashed to a fan in the stands who is literally grating cheese. Oh. It was awesome. Jahns, did you see this?
No, but you want a side story on this?
Just real quick, I know we did this hype video this week, and I did right in there bring the cheese graters. It never occurred to me that people would literally bring cheese graters though to the game. So kudos to those who did.
So, well, here's the side story. You know who saw that? My 8-year-old son. You know who doesn't have cheese for their eggs in the morning? Me. I was planning to make cheeseburgers tonight, and my wife goes this morning, where's all the cheese? And my 8-year-old son, who had a buddy over to watch the game, I literally just bought this pack of American cheese yesterday from Whole Foods, and now it's gone. I asked him this morning where it went. He said, we ate it and we tore it apart in the basement. And my wife was picking up cheese at 1 in the morning in the basement. So thank you, cheese grater guy. Now I have to go buy cheese for my cheeseburgers later today.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it. There's so many layers to this I love. I mean, Caleb Williams is on the postgame set, then he's grating cheese. Everybody, myself included, was sort of focusing on how you would sneak a cheese grater into the stadium when they cracked down on security so much. I'm also thinking about they flashed to this guy later in the game, and he's still grating more cheese. How much cheese did he sneak into the game? It's one thing to get the grater in, but did this guy just have packs of cheese on his body? It was so much cheese. I'm so impressed.
Yeah. Well, they had cheese on the Amazon Prime set after the game too.
Yeah.
The quarterback was shredding it.
All right. So it's 21-16 now. Packers getting the ball back. The kickoff. This was one where we almost had a big moment. Elijah Hicks knocks the ball out on the kickoff with Josh Jacobs back now to return. He gets a great return, and they knock it out, but Green Bay actually recovers. There's still 10 minutes on the clock at this point, and it's a 5-point game, which kind of made me realize how quickly the Bears actually got themselves back into this. There was plenty of time. Could you imagine? I mean, if they get that kickoff, get the fumble on the kickoff right there, then it feels like everything is rolling. Instead, they can't jump on it. And this is where you get Matthew Golden's first touchdown of the entire season. Jahns, this has been a story in Green Bay. Their first round pick. He was hurt, been ineffective. He had an amazing game yesterday, including that touchdown, which really I thought was the only bad moment the defense truly had in the second half. About 5 missed tackles on that play.
Yeah.
It was very deflating. I don't know how it felt in the building. You could probably relay that a little bit. But then again, special teams, McManus misses the extra point. And sometimes those extra points, they just feel like these little, the doors just opening and giving you it's just 1 point, but it just feels like it's a momentum swing. And so instead of it being 28-16, it's 27-16, and that extra point ended up mattering a ton.
So in the building, you could feel that little momentum shift that you're talking about. Yes, the building got quieter after the Bears missed about 5 to 7 tackles on Golden on that play. Boy, in the locker room afterwards, they were not happy with themselves whatsoever. And, rightfully so. At least 5 quality missed tackles on that play. But anyway, speaking of momentum, you could hear it, you could feel it. And even myself, kind of soaking all this in, I look at the clock and I'm like, there's still this could be done. If they score quickly on the next possession, this is still very much attainable for the Chicago Bears, just based on how they're playing right now in the second half.
And then this is where we get a moment. I know you ended up focusing on this in your column, and rightfully so. So it's 27-16. Again, I'm trying to point out some of these plays we're going to forget about in the long term. But it's 4th and 3. People forget it was originally 4th and 3, not 4th and 8. And you get this. I don't know where these Drew Dahlman snap issues are coming from, or if it's a cadence thing, but all of a sudden it's kind of been an issue. And Dahlman false starts on the snap, and then he still snaps it, and it flies over Caleb's head. But it actually, the false start might have helped them because it's blown dead, and you move back 5 yards, but like you forget that ball went flying over Caleb. Again, one of those moments where if that's not a false start and it's a clean snap, and he probably went high with the snap because he false started, whatever, but that could have been another disastrous moment. And instead, it's 4th and 8, and it sets up one of the greatest throws I've ever seen. In the postgame show, in the moment, I called it one of the greatest plays in NFL history. I think it's somewhere on that list when you consider everything on the line, season on the line, no feet on the ground. He's literally getting tackled, throwing across his body, the most iconic one of his jump man throws that he's had, throughout his entire career. And it just floated right in there. And even on the back end of it, Rome Odunze, who's banged up, not 100%, really hasn't been part of the game, is on the receiving end. Just an incredible play. Otherwise, the game is essentially over if they don't get that 4th down conversion. Just absolutely insane, Jahns.
So after my hit on CHGO last night, so this was about now 12:30 in the morning, I sit down at my seat in the press box. I'm like, gosh, where do I even begin with this one? Like, so much happened. Do I talk about the DJ Moore touchdown? Do I talk about, I don't know, the entire second half? Do I start with the speech that Ben Johnson made during halftime where he references the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Falcons and that amazing comeback? Like, where do we begin? I'm like, what's the most memorable play? What's the best play in this game? What's the most unbelievable play in this game? It's that pass from Caleb Williams on 4th and 8 to Rome Odunze, where he's literally floating in the air and floats a perfect pass down the left sideline on a scramble drill to keep the Bears, to keep this game alive for them. So to me, the more I thought about it, it was a no-brainer. It was the most exciting play that I've seen, one of the best plays that I can remember ever seeing made by a Chicago Bears player ever.
It really was that big. I mean, but they still need more magic on that drive because they have another 3rd and 10 after that. And that's where he does what he's supposed to do as a quarterback. Nobody's open, and he hits the check down to Kyle Monangai. And Monangai, again, I don't have it in front of me. I don't know how many yards exactly he picked up, but he got a lot of yak on it and got right down there in the red zone.
22 yards for Kyle Monangai.
On a check down.
On a check down. And how often have we talked about like that being the next step for Caleb Williams, is getting to that and just taking that yardage and trusting your ball carrier to get some yak. And Kyle Monangai, he'll get yards. He'll get positive yards. I think we've seen that time and time again too. So a hell of a play by the rookie.
So, yeah, Monangai gets his moment there. Then Olamide Zaccheaus gets his moment. Relatively easy touchdown coming across the middle. Like, it was a fair pregame talking point, Jahns, about Jahdae Walker being in. We did this on a pregame show, and some of the fans were understandably, how is Jahdae inactive instead of Olamide Zaccheaus? And I just kept pointing out, like, look, long term, Jahdae's your guy, but when you're playing, in these tight games, you got to have veterans that know how to play every position. And so for OZ to get his moment there as well was pretty cool considering his season. And then Ben Johnson gets a little bit of his moment. Because on the 2-point conversion, everybody on the sideline, they flashed to it on the broadcast, is immediately doing this for heavy personnel. And They get the heavy personnel out there, like they're just going to pound the ball in, and immediately everybody shifts out, and it's evident right away. Colson Loveland is lined up to the left, split out wide, all by himself, one-on-one coverage with somebody named Nick Neiman. Like I had to look on my roster sheet.
Like I actually don't know who Nick Neiman is. He's from Sycamore, Illinois.
Oh no,
he's from local.
Okay, well, fair enough. Sycamore guys in the playoffs a few years ago.
But he's playing because Edgerrin Cooper got hurt, and this was his one and only defensive snap the entire season. And Ben Johnson got him matched up against Colston Loveland.
And it's just a simple speed out that Colston's going to win 100% of the time. But the way they use, the way Ben does heavy personnel to shift out of it and get, and he probably doesn't even know it's going to be Nick Neiman lined up. He just knows that Edgerrin Cooper's out and they can't guard him anyway. And it's probably going to be a linebacker because you're in heavy personnel. And it's just the easy 2-point conversion, but Caleb has to make the throw, and he does. Like, that's special stuff. That is being on top of your mess, as Ben likes to put it. It's pretty incredible. So that makes it.
And again,
sorry, that makes it 27-24, John.
We're going to get to Colston Loveland later, but in that moment, your rookie 21-year-old tight end, like I can't continue to be more impressed by what the Bears are getting from the rookie. He was great. I think we'll talk more about that here in a second in the likes. Quickly, let's get through the rest of this fourth quarter. I know we got to speed this up a little bit, but so it's 27-24. This is where, Johns, I really felt like the crowd kind of took over because you start to see the Packers really, really start to melt down. But first, you get this slot fade to Romeo Doubs that was an incredible catch. I mean, really. So it's like the Bears are having this stuff, but the Packers keep having these plays where it's just like, oh, well, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the play where this has been great, but the Packers are going to go down and score, right? That's what you're thinking. Then Golden gets them down to the 21-yard line on his next catch. So they're already down there in the red zone pretty quickly. And this is where Jordan Love had kind of a similar thing. He gets a tight end split out wide against the linebacker. It's Tremaine Edmonds. And I think it was Musgrave, right? Yep.
Yeah, it was Luke Musgrave versus Tremaine Edmonds. And he goes for the shot where they could easily be trying to kill the clock instead by running the ball. And he just does not throw a good ball. That was good coverage from Edmonds. He did a great job of not committing pass interference. But I saw this going around on Twitter this morning too, and a little bit of criticism on the throw. Like, he didn't even throw it well enough to get the pass interference, but he easily could have. And so it's kind of a contrast of what the Bears did on the 2-point conversion, which they try to do here on a deeper shot, but similar thing where you get the tight end versus the linebacker and it goes the Bears' way.
Yeah. I rewatched that play a couple times too. If that's a better ball by Jordan Love, we could be having a different conversation right now because the Packers are getting that penalty and moving up the field and getting in the scoring range.
Right. And instead, they have to burn a timeout, immediately followed by a delay of game. Like, credit the crowd there for that one. That's the kind of crap we used to see the Bears do. A delay a game out of a timeout. I know I watched Matt LaFleur presser after the game. He called it unacceptable, obviously. So then it becomes 3rd and 15 instead of 3rd and 10. And this is where I want to shout out Jalen Johnson again, because he's covering Romeo Doubs, who's been running away from these guys. And all of a sudden, like, Jalen looks like Jalen again, and he's good in coverage, and it's tight coverage, and the ball's thrown out of bounds. And then you get a missed 44-yard field goal, which credit Kirk Herbstreit because I didn't think about this in the moment. But the 5 yards on the delay of game mattered. I think like it was a bad kick, but I think it still might have snuck in that upright if it's 5 yards closer. And even just mentally, there's a big difference between a 39-yarder and a 44-yarder. So,
oh yeah,
that ended up being huge.
Absolutely.
All right, so the Bears get the ball back. It's still 27-24, and you get the Packers with 10 men on the field. They initially ran too many out there. They had 12, and then 2 guys came off. So now you get 10 men on the field. They have to burn another timeout. These timeouts ended up mattering a ton for the Packers. Then DJ Moore has that drop where you're like, oh no, they're going to be right in the field goal range. Like, what a big moment. And on that same play, Ozzie Trapillo gets hurt. And somehow, with apparently a torn patellar tendon, hops off the field so the Bears don't have to burn a timeout.
Charles Leno's wife, Charles Leno, former Bears offensive tackle. Did you see her tweet about that last night?
Yeah, she shouted him out, right?
Yeah. Like,
because it's under 2 minutes. So
an injury would cost your team a timeout.
Even with the clock stop, though? Because wasn't that on the DJ drop?
True. Oh, good point.
I'm going to have to relook that up. Unless I have my plays mixed up, but that's what my notes say.
I did see him in that moment hop off the field, and it wasn't like he was moving slow. Like, it was almost like a full just substitution. He was coming off the field so fast. He was hopping on his right leg, left leg was up.
You know what, though? I think it might still count because you could still fake an injury to give yourself time, even against the play clock clocking down. So I still think that might be what the rule is. Under 2 minutes, that any injury costs you a timeout regardless of the clock. Anyway, regardless, it's incredible that he got off the field. If that's and I want to talk more about that injury a little bit coming up. But anyway, the very next play, they get it to Swift, and he ends up getting right back there in the field goal range anyway. And then you get the 25-yard touchdown to DJ Moore, which was a great concept set up by a screen earlier in the game. It looks like a bubble, and instead you fake the bubble. You go deep. The Packers totally bid on it. DJ Moore wide open. So he gets his redemption for the drop.
My favorite thing about that is the design of it. Did you see where Darnell Wright's lined up?
Actually, I didn't.
He's on the side of the screen. Okay, so they're basically
yes. So that's the play they ran earlier in the game. Yes. I remember that.
So they were basically overloading. He's outside Theo Bennett in this moment. Cole Kmet is basically the right tackle on the other side, even though he's uncovered, which makes him an eligible receiver. Darnell Wright is part of this. He releases to go block. What's the down on that, right? First down. You're already in there. You could be thinking field goal. You're playing it safe. I just like the idea of that play in that moment. Like the way to get the Packers thinking. They're reading screen all the way. And Darnell Wright is part of that, especially when he releases. It causes all the defenders to jump and go up. DJ Moore comes free. Perfect pass from Caleb Williams. Touchdown.
It was a great play, and it was well executed by everybody involved. And then this is a small thing that only I'm going to notice, but it made me feel good. Jahns, when you lose an offensive lineman, there is no injury that causes more of a problem on your next PAT or field goal than losing one of your starting offensive linemen. And a lot of times, if you score right away after that injury, like there's not enough time, or to make sure everybody's on the same page in terms of the sub. But I'm just saying, like, that was a really important PAT, and there was absolutely no issues with the subs. Richard Hightower, no surprise there, 100% on it. Everybody's good to go. I didn't even really think about it live, to be honest with you. It wasn't until I rewatched it, and I was like, oh yeah, Ozzie got hurt, and then you immediately had a PAT. Like, as somebody who's done this as a coordinator, like, those are the nightmares that go through your head. Totally on it. No issue there with the PAT. I just wanted to point that out.
You're so special teams. I'm Bran.
Yep. And then on final drop, you have got to bring it up. Jaden Reed, who's also a Chicago guy, had that big drop. That would have gotten the Packers down there. And then what I thought was one of the worst moments in the game for Matt LaFleur, and there were plenty in the second half, but calling timeout with 44 seconds left after you got the first down, when you seemingly could have run up there and spiked it and stopped the clock, man, did they need that timeout. All three of these timeouts they burned in the fourth quarter.
Well, then, the final one was because their center got hurt.
That's right.
And you got the 10-second runoff.
Well, that was technically actually their fourth timeout. They count that as a fourth timeout.
True. Yeah.
And that's why you get the 10-second runoff as well. So, like, all of this turned into a disaster from the Packers standpoint, but it also, like, you got to give a lot of credit for what the defense did to cause this stuff, what the crowd did to cause some of the stuff, because the three timeouts the Packers called on their own were all problems. One was before an offensive play that they weren't set for. Another one was because they only had 10 guys on the field defensively. And then this was, I just thought, was an unnecessary timeout by the head coach when you could have run up there and clocked it and kept that timeout in your back pocket, which they needed in the end of the game. It was a huge call, and it impacted that last play. By the way, did you hear, speaking of the center getting hurt, did you hear what Matt LaFleur said the last play was supposed to be?
No, what was it?
It wasn't supposed to be a throw to the end zone yet. They were hoping to do a quick throw to the sideline because you saw how far off the Bears were playing.
Yeah.
They were going to do a quick throw to the sideline just to get closer to the end zone. And there was a snap issue. Now, I went back and watched it. I don't really think it's the center's fault, but you sometimes wonder, and I've talked about this before, centers snap the ball differently in shotgun. There's a different pace to it. There's a rhythm to it. And Jordan drops the snap. And at that point, now you can't throw it to the sideline. So then they're just playing backyard football because they shifted to a Hail Mary, but they weren't really running one of their Hail Mary plays. That drop snap was huge.
So I want to give, because I have this in my notes. When you rewatch that, watch the defense and the personnel that the Bears have in that moment. Like when the Packers reach the Bears 23, I know they have the false start. They back up to the 28. So there's two more plays. Tremaine Edmonds is now your middle of the field safety on that. They brought in extra defensive backs. Your cornerbacks, Jalen Johnson and Deshaun Wright, are on the outside specifically with the leverage looking in, defending those plays that Matt LaFleur wants to make. They're looking for those sideline throws. Their job is preventing those. I just like the strategy. I like that it's some form of prevent defense with more defensive backs in it. And plus you have Tremaine Edmonds, your 6'6" linebacker in the middle of the field to help knock things down too. So the strategy of Dennis Allen, I thought he had an outstanding second half, but I just like the look that he presented Matt LaFleur for the final three plays.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good segue into our likes and dislikes because a lot of the stuff on defense I want to bring up. That was about 40 minutes on the fourth quarter, but that was a fourth quarter that I think deserved it. When you really go through all those little moments, all those little plays, I think it's crazy for Javon Bullard to say that the Bears didn't do anything. Like, there's so many huge clutch plays in there in all three phases. And yes, there's a lot of the Packers melting down too, without a doubt. But that's what it takes to have a game flip like that the way it did in the fourth quarter. All right, we got to take our first time out. Don't go anywhere, though. We got our likes and dislikes. We're going to get into a lot of things like the handshake and the rivalry and adjustments that were made throughout this game. There's still a ton to get to. But first,
Adam, imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And it lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 full years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees. This is Xfinity. Xfinity, you also get the best equipment. Like, I could have used this for my pregame hit Soldier Field yesterday.
Yeah, can we get this in Soldier Field?
Yes. Seriously. So take it from me. A lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won. Coaches get fired. Records are broken. Dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. And you get that from Xfinity. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
And as the Midwestern winter begins to thaw, hopefully we're not getting ahead of ourselves a little bit too much here, but
dude, slow down.
Kind of feeling like that. Hey, but by the time we get to this, you're going to understand where I'm going with you. Our one-of-a-kind culinary journey is heating up in the sand dunes of central Wisconsin. That's right. Go invade Wisconsin now after this Bears victory over the Packers. You're invited to the 4th annual Friends of James Beard Chef Invitational at Sand Valley, happening February 27th through March 1st. So by then, it will be thawing out a little bit. This isn't just a dinner. It's an entire weekend dedicated to great food and outdoor adventure. Spend the weekend alongside 8 of the Midwest's most celebrated James Beard recognized chefs. Picture intimate cooking demonstrations in cottages, wine and champagne tastings, and 2 main events, a multi-course tasting dinner at Aldo's Farm and Table, and a dine around to visit chefs at custom cottages, all complete with expert wine pairings. When the plates are cleared, the party continues with dancing and warm cocktails. You will also have the opportunity to support the efforts of the James Beard Foundation and Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Escape the ordinary. Book your spot today. Call 866-780-9656 or visit sandvalley.com. All right, Johns, it is time for our likes and dislikes, brought to you by Upside. Download the free Upside app. Use promo code Hoge Jahns to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. Do this every post-game episode, the morning after, just all the random things we liked and disliked from whatever happened the night before. Johns, you can kick us off.
I want to talk about Ben Johnson's halftime speech right here. It's not that he referenced the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl. Obviously, the Patriots came back from 28-3. It's not that he just referenced that in the moment. It's that during training camp, Ben Johnson and his team watched this film together. He had Joe Thuney and Grady Jarrett, 2 off-season additions who played in that game, discuss that game in detail. They gave speeches. This is them in the preseason. This is them in training camp discussing belief, discussing never giving up. So this isn't some spur-of-the-moment speech about hope. The Bears are literally coaching up belief. I like that. How could you not love that? I'm saying that a lot lately. Forget liking. Well, you got to love that. For all you young coaches out there, wow, isn't that something special? To hear, to be able to reference that only strengthens what you're saying in that moment. Your resilience, your belief that you're going to come back. And of course, you say you're going to, rewrite history against the Green Bay Packers. So that's to me, to hear that, to have that story, and it dates back to training camp. I like that style of coaching from Ben Johnson.
And a crazy wrinkle to all that, the Atlanta Falcons quarterbacks coach, the 28-3 game, was Matt LaFleur. And speaking of Grady Jarrett, who of course was on the wrong side of that too, I loved his tweet at 4:13 in the morning. So he was up like me still.
Well, like
he
everybody
was just
else.
like me. Said he was shouting out the fact that Devin Hester and Brian Urlacher were there yesterday. By the way, that was another thing I picked up on the rewatch. When they brought Urlacher out there in the end zone, that was when things started to flip. I think it was right after the field goal that made it 20. Was that 21-9, right? He was in the end zone hyping up the crowd.
Yeah.
But Grady Jarrett tweeted, "My first starting job in the league was blocking for the best returner in NFL history in Atlanta on kick return. You thought we would let him down and one of the best players to ever play this game in Urlacher? No, hell no. Thank you to our big brothers for being there with us. On to the next." you could tell this one meant a lot to Grady Jarrett. It's been a long time since he's, been back in the playoffs, and he just kind of fell to his knees at the end of the game. Obviously, it's meant a lot to a lot of players, but Grady's been grinding this year, and he's playing a lot of snaps, considering that, he had the knee issue earlier in the year, and they're banged up. Billings went out in this game, and I don't know, a lot of guys stepped up. It's pretty incredible on defense.
Billings went out and came back. Do you want to talk about the injuries now? Oh, my son's in the chat.
Oh,
Hi,
no.
son. Hi, Colin.
That's a new one, isn't it?
A new son? It's not a new son.
Well, I can't keep track of what you. I don't know. It might
son.
be. It might be. No, I just meant that's new that Colin's in the chat, right?
Well, he's a teenager, so they're on YouTube, Adam.
Oh, gee, yeah, that I'm well aware of. I don't think James has discovered the chat function yet. We'll keep it to that. Yeah, let's get to the injuries, because this was certainly not something to like.
Ozzie Trapillo, patellar tendon injury. TJ Edwards. I mean, did you watch the film of that? Like, it looks like he steps on.
It was weird.
Yeah, like how freakish is that injury? This looks like a dislocated ankle. Like I feel awful for him. Did you see the video of George McCaskey like running into the locker room?
Yeah, he went full Hawk Harrelson. It was insane.
Come
on. Oh, take over, Stoney. I gotta go check out Todd Frazier. Some people understand that reference. No, it was yes, it was not insane. You don't see a lot of owners, running down a hallway going to check on an injured player,
especially during the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, whatever you want to say about the McCaskies, they care a lot
about their players.
Yes. And a lot of people come and go in the organization with plenty of complaints, but and sometimes about the McCaskies too, but most of them will all say loved playing for, this owner, loved playing for whether it's Virginia or now George, and that's why, because they definitely do care.
If I'm going to this, go ahead.
Sorry, just the Ozzie injury has me. That's the one that no one wants to be thinking about next year yet, but those patellar tendons, that's not just a torn ACL. That could actually impact decisions made at left tackle this offseason.
Oh yeah. That's going to linger. In the short term, I want to give the Bears credit for injuries have been a storyline throughout this entire season, and their ability to get through the season and be a winning football team despite all these injuries, it's really something. So to have Theo Benedict as your backup, not just as a backup who hasn't played whatsoever, he's actually started games and done quite well, especially in the run game. So I think the Bears can be okay, at least for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, because Braxton Jones is ready to come back. They just didn't need him last night. So now they can activate him off IR. He's played a lot of football, and he hasn't been perfect, but he's played a lot of football. He started a lot of games in the NFL. So the worry about the Trapillo injury for me is more about next year rather than can they survive the rest of the season. I think they'll be fine. But that one was, and for TJ too. Now, what I do like coming off the TJ Edwards injury, because he's a homegrown guy, and I can't imagine getting hurt in a game against the Packers like that, and a serious injury at that too. You just hate to see that. On the flip side, I love the Bears' response. I love the Bears' response. I thought DeMarco Jackson, that speed made a difference that I've been talking about. The defense was pretty good when DeMarco Jackson was out there, and I just think that needs to be pointed out. The circumstances of it suck. You don't want to see TJ Edwards get hurt at all, and certainly not have a major injury. But same thing though. I feel good about the defense with DeMarco Jackson going forward. I'm not worried about it.
This is where I want to consider the defense among my likes in this game. Okay, their first half was awful. Not a lot of there's not a lot to like about the Bears' first half of football. Literally from the offense to the defense to the special teams. But I want to say the spark, like the momentum shift in the second half, started with the Chicago Bears defense. It really did. The third down defense was exceptional. You mentioned how Jalen Johnson was playing better. I thought Kyler Gordon was playing better. I thought Montez Sweat was playing better. Let me go back to the third quarter here. Like the Bears getting how many? Let's see, 1 3 and out, 2 3 and outs, like 2 3 and outs to open the second half. You could feel the momentum shift in that game, like, and that starts with the defense. So I thought
they hadn't, other than the pick 6 that TJ Edwards had in San Francisco, they hadn't had a 3 and out since the Browns game. And they pulled 2 out of nowhere coming out of halftime. It was stunning. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to bring that up.
You're good. Yes. Yeah.
And which gives me to one of my likes. And because I tweeted this, and I still think it's completely the case. Like, I had a lot of problems with the game plan defensively, what they did in the first half. I thought there was way too much man. I thought, well, it's like man without pressure is really what it was. Like, I can live with the man zone, and I said coming in they should probably mix it up between the two games, but they weren't getting home. There wasn't enough simulated pressures, whatever you want to do. And I did not understand starting Nick McLeod over Kyler Gordon.
Yeah.
And I know Kyler Gordon got picked on later in this game, but dude, he made enough plays. And he was a much better option. So credit to Dennis Allen for the adjustments that were made. Even putting Tyreek Stevenson out there for a little bit, which I don't know if that just mentally snapped Jalen Johnson back into the game or what, because Jalen was way better the rest of the game after that. Tyreek got his helmet on a football immediately. Kyler Gordon got his hands on a football immediately. And if you watch Matt LaFleur's presser last night, which I listened to on my way home, half of that press conference, when he wasn't getting peppered about his future, was about the adjustments the Bears made defensively that they did not handle well. And Matt LaFleur just admitted it. He's like, he went through it. He's like, they brought more pressures. They were coming from the corners. They were coming from the safeties. They were coming from the linebackers. And our guys up front did not handle it. And he's like, and I honestly don't have the answers right now. So the adjustments Dennis Allen made in this football game after what I thought was an indefensible game plan, quite frankly, coming out, it was a completely different defense. And then a ton of credit to the players on the field, grinding through all the things that they're grinding through to execute the way they did, because those guys made a lot of one-on-one plays when it was all said and done.
I read these stats last night on the CHGO show. I just want to reiterate them. In the first half, the Green Bay Packers were 4 for 6 on third downs. They were 3 for 3 in the red zone. They finished 6 for 15 on third downs. That's exceptional third down defense in the second half. Not only that, but they also remained only 3 for 3 in the red zone. You know what that means in the second half? The Green Bay Packers didn't get into the red zone against the Chicago Bears defense.
Yeah. That was partly because Matthew Golden ran through 900 players to get to the end zone. But other than that one play, it's a great point. It's a great point. Yeah.
There's a big difference. A big difference. Yeah. It's where you get missed field goals.
Yeah. I guess my last one, we'll go a little bit more abbreviated here on the likes and dislikes, and unless you have a lot more. We get voicemails coming up as well. We got to take another time out.
I have one more, but we could get it. I think we could save this for the backside of the conversation.
Okay. Well, I think Colson Loveland needs,
yeah,
and Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson and everyone like this. And raise my hand. I was never against Colson Loveland, but I preferred Tyler Warren. That's been well established here on this show and others. I mean, I still thought Colson Loveland was I had him 15th overall, I think, on my big board, and I thought he'd be a really good player, but I preferred Tyler Warren. Bears, where I'm going with this, and Carm kind of hit on this last night, and he's right. This never works out for the Bears. The Bears took the riskier player who was also hurt. They drafted a guy who was hurt, and they had to go through that and be like, yeah, we just, we use our top 10 pick on a guy who's not even going to be able to help us till training camp. Like 10 times out of 10 in the Bears history, they do stuff like that. It doesn't work out. And this has been an absolute home run. And I guess I don't blame the AP voters for not giving Colston Loveland a single vote in there. I was looking through the votes yesterday, and Colston Loveland, I mean, he kind of came out a little bit too late in the season, and I'm not sure how everybody is totally aware of the impact he's had, especially the last 3 weeks. It was a little too late, so I guess I could defend that. But if after last night you could redo the voting, because I saw a crazy stat last night that Colston Loveland has better numbers than Trey McBride and one other of the league leading tight ends in terms of, what was it, yards per route run and first downs per route run. Like he has quietly out of nowhere become one of the best tight ends in the league right before our eyes in the last month. And I think it's totally sustainable. I don't think this is a flash in the pan. I think they absolutely hit a grand slam on this draft pick.
Adam, he averaged more than 17 yards per reception last night. Like as a tight end, it's honestly, it is. The potential is there. You can see the flashes of stardom, and he's only 21. Adam, I think the entire Indiana Hoosiers football roster is older than Colston Loveland.
That's crazy.
I'm serious.
Yeah, you might be right, though.
He's 21 years old. 21. Wow. Home run. Grand slam draft pick by the Chicago Bears.
All right. We'll take our break. We'll save what you had on the back end of this and then your voicemails, which I cannot wait to hear. I'm sure they're just absolutely crazy from this one. But first, we take a timeout. Johnsy, whether it's on the field or in your financial life, the best teams win by delivering excellence at every level, just like the Bears did in the fourth quarter, all three phases, every level of that defense as well. They were locked in at Old National Bank. They believe that every play matters, just like it did. We went through the fourth quarter, and how many, really every play seemed to matter. From everyday checking to long-term planning and commercial banking, the team at Old National Bank is here to build momentum and help you move the ball forward. So whether you're celebrating a win like everybody in Chicago is right now, or rebuilding after a tough loss like everybody north of the border in Wisconsin is today, and maybe literally the Green Bay Packers who might be changing their coach. We should probably touch on that before we get out of here, or gearing up for whatever comes next. Old National Bank's got your back with tools, guidance, and an expert crew that's always in your corner. Old National Bank, proud sponsor of Hoge Jahns, where relationships and results matter. Member FDIC.
Between road trips to see family, running your kids around from practice to games, countless grocery store runs, gas runs, this season can put a strain on your wallet. The free Upside app helps you earn extra cash back on things you're already doing, like filling up the pump, grabbing dinner on the go, or making one more trip to the grocery store. With Upside, you're keeping more in your pocket during the season when you spend the most. And yes, it's cash back, over $1 billion given back to users so far. There are over at 100,000 gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants on the Upside app. That's a crazy number, and they're ensuring that you get cash back. It's always there, and yes, it is cash back. Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. To find out how much you could earn, download the free Upside app and use promo code Hoge and Jahns to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code Hoge and Jahns.
All right, what do you want to hit on?
All right, so my final is I love that this rivalry is alive and well. It's full of trash talk. It's full of pregame fisticuffs. It's full of veiled shots. It now includes, like, how would you describe that Ben Johnson handshake? Like a slide, low step, like.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought this up because I got to address this. We touched on it last night, but I said that I didn't really want to go too into it because I feel like I hadn't digested it or maybe seen every angle of it. My instincts were right. My initial thought last night, which I want to correct, was that I didn't love it because it felt like Matt LaFleur was like going to genuinely, give him a good game, handshake, not like a long conversation.
You're reading
but
his lips. It looks like he said good game.
Yeah, it seemed like he was going in there, kind of taking the high road. And from the back angle, it looked like Ben totally blew him off. And from that angle, I thought that it just kind of came off like you're being a little bit of a sore winner. But my instincts in that I needed to see more were correct because when you see it from the other angle, Ben is in the middle. First of all, it matters what he's doing before that. We have not seen Ben like in a full out celebration immediately, before a handshake all season. And he was already like in full celebration mode. And he kind of gets in there in like a weird low stance. And he is looking Matt LaFleur directly in the face, which I couldn't see from that other angle. I thought he blew by him and didn't make eye contact. And he sticks his hand out there and it's a firm handshake. It's quick. It's still probably a little bit of a blow by, but it wasn't nearly as disrespectful as I thought it was on that first angle. So my official stance here the next day is I got no problem with it. It feeds into more of the rivalry. All three of those handshakes were icy, I would say. And maybe Matt LaFleur wanted a little bit more of a more normal handshake. But then when you also hear the context afterwards and how much they heard everything the Packers said during the week, and Ben mentioned himself, the coaches were pissed off about it too, and the Packers were clearly trying to get on top of that logo at midfield in pregame, which started the little brouhaha. Sorry, man, you don't get to have a conversation then after the game, even if you want to. That's not how it works. As long as it wasn't a complete blow by with no eye contact, which I do think would be a little that's not what it was though after I saw the other angle. So I love it. I got no problem with it the next day.
Yeah, you can't go out there expecting a bro hug. Not from all the noise that you created in Green Bay. And
no, that's on you.
That usually starts and ends with the head coach, especially like the pregame stuff. Like we see colleges do stuff like that. Like dancing on the logo, especially like what got me is you have, the teams come together before the game, officials break it up, coaches break it up, they go their separate ways. But the Green Bay Packers stay out there when there's only like Torrey Taylor out there practicing his punts.
Right.
And they gather for their final breakdown at midfield on the Bears logo. Ben Johnson was fully aware of all that. So if he wants to handle the handshake however he wants, so be it.
Yeah, 100%. Now that leads us quickly because I do have to get out of here. I finally get to go to one of my son's hockey games because they're all on Sundays. So it's really nice. The Bears played last night. If I had to guess right now, Jahns, we'll go a little bit bold here. I think John Harbaugh might be the head coach of the Packers by the end of the week.
Ooh.
Okay. I brought this up on CHGO on Thursday. I can't remember if you were still. No, this was the day I was at Hal, so it must have been Wednesday then. Regardless, there's a connection people need to know about here, and I brought it up on the show then. It felt like the second John Harbaugh got fired by Baltimore, my mind went to the Packers because Harbaugh's agent is Brian Harlan. Brian Harlan's been around a long time. He actually used to do PR with Bears. And then he became an agent, and Pat Fitzgerald's one of his clients. He represents a lot of coaches. Well, Brian Harlan's father is Bob Harlan. And if that doesn't ring a bell for you, it should, because he was the president of the Green Bay Packers before Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy, who just retired in the offseason, and now it's Ed Policy. So we're two presidents removed from Bob Harlan. Bob Harlan had a legendary run there. He oversaw the Brett Favre trade, the whole Brett Favre era, the Aaron Rodgers pick, the decisions that were made then to bring in Mike McCarthy. And then he stepped down in 08 when Mark Murphy took over. So Bob Harlan's basically a legend in Green Bay. His son is John Harbaugh's agent. Like, I just don't think you can ignore that connection. Now, there's another wrinkle I did not know until this morning when Adam Schefter said this. Harbaugh already has a house in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So if you're in this weird spot now where you have a tough decision to make, a new president who's got to decide, I either have to extend this guy that just completely folded in the second half yesterday against our biggest rival in the playoffs, been the 3 seed the last 3 years, didn't make the playoffs before, I'm sorry, the 7 seed the last 3 years, right? And then didn't make the playoffs the year before that. You either got to make these, you got to extend that guy or move on from that guy. And John Harbaugh might be available. There's just, to me, I'm connecting a lot of these dots here. And I think that's a tough sell to bring him back. It'd be very tempting to move on and get John Harbaugh at this point. And what's also weird, now he still has one more year on his contract, LaFleur. You could work out a trade here. Like this could be just one of those situations where it's possible some compensation's involved, because I imagine Matt LaFleur in a relatively weak head coaching cycle when all these jobs open would probably get a job too somewhere else. So just watch how this unfolds over the next few days. I find it fascinating, and it just wouldn't shock me if by the end of the week, John Harbaugh is the new head coach of the Green Bay Packers.
Matt LaFleur has not finished higher than the 7th seed without Aaron Rodgers. I think it's something you have to, like, it's more than just this year. This epic collapse is just the newest part of this conversation in Green Bay. We talked extensively about the pressure he was feeling going into this one, and that won't change if he returns. It won't. There's still a hurdle to get through. He's got to win in the playoffs without Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't been able to do that.
Which makes me wonder how long we're talking about this game. Now, Harbaugh would be a good hire for the Packers. I don't know if it'd be great for Jordan Love, though. We got more time to talk about that. Seems like it'd be somewhat lateral overall. They might be better coached overall, but I don't know that it'd be good for Jordan Love, which would really matter in this rivalry. So we'll see where all that goes. I know we got super chats to get to. We will, including our guy Motor Music, Michael. We'll get to all those in a second, but your voicemails, we got to get to those. Katie stayed up late pretty much all night after being at the game, putting these together. 224-725-3046. That's the number. You're always welcome to call in pregame, postgame, midgame. 224-725-3046. Here are your voicemails from the Bears' incredible playoff victory over the Green Bay Packers.
Hello?
Do you know who this is?
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
The Hoge Jahns voicemail. The Hoge Jahns voicemail line.
Believe it or not, George isn't at home. Please leave a message at the beep.
Got any questions or comments about the Bears? Give the guys a call before, after, or even during the game.
Go Bears!
Hoge Adam Jahns, Bob Dabrowski calling in. Business phone call. 30 minutes to game time. We got the Packers. It's playoff week. Okay? This is the most important day of 2026, by far. Yes, it's true. I got married a week ago today. Today, 100 times more important. Mrs. Dabrowski would agree. What? Yes, she does. This is it. This is what we've been building towards our whole life. Let's go, boys. Bear down. Bear down. Chicago Bears.
Hoge Jahns, what's up? It's about an hour before kickoff. I have been pumped all week long. No cheese allowed in my house all week. No cheese. My friend, she made some lasagna. She brought it over for us. How nice. Threw that in the trash. She didn't know. Bless her heart. But no cheese allowed. It had to go. I'm lactose intolerant. Let's go. Bear down.
Hoge Jahns, great first drive. I know we ended with a field goal, but we did exactly what we need to do. Kill the clock, keep the defense off the field. Let's go. Bear down. And Ben Johnson we trust.
Caleb, we wear blue and orange. Who were you throwing to?
I can see any one of our players in an area. Who are you throwing to, dude? This is not the time.
Packers just went up 14-3, and it is over. I have no hope. Sorry, Iceman. Fair now.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew we weren't going to come out strong. I knew it. This is ridiculous. I think Ben Johnson owes an apology to Matt LaFleur. Just saying, bear down. I'm not sure what the game plan was, but this isn't it. Halftime, this looks terrible. Bear down.
Hi, boys and Katie. It's the Mama Bear. I'm feeling a little better about this game now that the second half has started. We've got a couple 3-and-outs. But I just heard a stat that said we pressured Jordan Love twice in the entire first half. Number one, is that true? And number two, we sure weren't taking care of business in the secondary. So can somebody tell me what in the hell we were doing?
What is happening? I don't understand. Are we really through? We're only 3 points to tie in the fourth quarter? How did we get to this? I don't understand. He just missed the kick! Guys, Iceman's been doing this all year. Let's go.
All right, boys, here's the f***ing deal.
Oh my God, he dropped the ball! He dropped the ball! He dropped the
ball! Hoge Jahns, Katie, I apologize for my earlier language. You're going to get one more. Bear the down, baby! Let's go!
This is the most beautiful win I've ever seen.
Bear down.
What's up, Hoge and John? Sean here. I take back everything I said on my previous voicemails. Don't know why I ever doubted this team. We're back. We're so freaking back.
Hoge and John, Sean in Arizona here. Thanks, God. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hoge and Jahns, holy crap. This is Jeremy calling in from Nashville. I took my shirt off. I put a different shirt on and a different hat on at halftime, and that's when the comeback started. This is the most insane thing I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm just excited to be a Bears fan today. Bear down.
I don't cry for sad movies. I don't cry when I'm happy. I didn't cry at my wedding. I just cry. I love this team.
Hoge and John, Katie, Chicago Bears, I fucking love you guys. Let's go. Bear down.
Katie, I just want to start off and say thank you for all the work you do. Hoge and Jahns, this is the best show in the universe. Hoge and Jahns, we say all the time, we should have known better. This time around, we should have known better, but we should have known that they were going to come back. I'm going to cry, dude. I cannot believe what I just witnessed. I cannot believe it. Go Bears. Divisional round.
Girls, the Bears beat the Packers.
Go, Bears!
Bring it in. Good, better, best.
Good, better, best.
Never let it rest.
Never let it rest.
Till your good gets better. And your better gets best. Bears on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Bears! Keep taking the north, and we're never giving it back.
Hey, Bears fans, B-Man here. Oh, my God. First Bears playoff win in my lifetime. I love this team. Let's go win the Super Bowl. Bear down.
Let's go, B-Man.
Did we just have our first ever, live reaction voicemail?
Yeah. I think so. Like, he was mid-call and something happened. And everybody went crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what. I mean, I think that was the final play. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, it was. It was when Jordan dropped it in the final play.
Okay.
I tried to turn down the volume a little bit on that one because they were going crazy as you can hear.
I just love it. The movement here. We got B-Man growing up. We got kids doing good, better, best. We got Colin Johns in the chat. My 4-year-old daughter. Hey, check out my Instagram. I got a video of my 4-year-old daughter my wife sent me. She's doing the "It's Chicago" thing. So we did finally get her on the record with that one. It's pretty cool to see. We got a lot of supers, and I got to get out of here so I can get to James's hockey game. But we'll start with the big money ones. I know we got some big ones that came in. We appreciate all of these supers. But how about our guy Motor Music Michael, who was in Vegas with us earlier this year, one of one of our biggest fans and a huge supporter of CHGO. $50 says, shout out to George McCaskey for caring about his players, running down the tunnel, not letting Packer fans in pictures with them, making his mom proud to be a Bears fan today. Everyone in my town has been texting me about the game. Just wow.
Yeah, we talked about George McCaskey running to the locker room with TJ Edwards. That's part of who he is. But we forgot to mention George McCaskey pushing the Packers fan out of the picture. That was,
a little stiff arm. Yeah.
There was some
I love
force
it.
to that.
Dr. Dave in Wisconsin with a $50 super. I'm not sure if there's a comment that goes along with it.
Well, thanks, Dave.
I don't think so.
Sometimes, Katie, they're like not in the super and somewhere else in the chat. You might have to search for it. But yeah, Dr. Dave, sorry if we missed it. We really appreciate that super chat, though. Thank you very much. Mitchell with 28 Canadian dollars wanted to donate. Thank you for doing the conversion for us. $21.03. Enjoy the tip, fellas. Bear down.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch. I don't know how to say that one. Sorry, $20.
Wait, Chris?
I don't know. I don't want to hear much talk about how the Bears were lucky. The Packers were extremely lucky too. 3 bad fumbles that they recovered. Ball bounced both the team's ways. The Bears didn't have a takeaway in this game, right?
The Packers had 2.
If you told me at halftime they came back without any takeaways, I would have just said no. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's a credit to how well they played defensively, that they did it without the takeaways. They forced punts. They didn't let them back in the red zone. Solid angle, $21.03. It's all house money now.
Thank you, Sal.
2103. What am I missing?
Oh, that's the Canadian conversion.
Oh, okay. Dip and Vel. I just didn't know if they were both doing that for some specific reason. Dip and Velcro, $10. We ended the Packers season. Matt LaFleur may be fired. Does it get better? Well, it could. He could win this week.
Say just wait. Enjoy today's
It's not over yet.
Yeah, we got.
We'll see how far they can go. Justin Holmes, $20. Got to watch this with my son in Traverse City for a hockey tournament. Tried hard not to wake everybody up at the hotel. Just like Peyton, this team never dies easy. Speaking of that, I saw a hilarious video this morning of a dad with a newborn who did a silent celebration. And he was just like, yeah. That was great. Giuseppe, our guy, $20. What a game. So proud of this team this year. My brother, who passed 4 years ago, is looking down, smiling. They have brought so much joy this year. Bear down. Thanks, guys. Your shows are great. Thank you, Giuseppe.
Thank you, man.
I was thinking a lot about Jeff Dickerson yesterday. I talked about it on the postgame show. Got the hoodie on right now. He would have loved covering that. Hands down, $10. Been non-vocal for the past year, but CHGO has been fire in my heart. Thanks for all the hard work. Love y'all. Let's effing go. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate all the support. We couldn't do it without you
yet.
guys. Nope. The Mama Bear, $20. Thanks, guys. These day after shows are the best, just like you all. Thank you, Mama Bear, and for calling in the voicemail line. We did confirm, by the way, that Bob Dabrowski does have a Mrs. Bob. That is a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mama Bear, and congratulations to Bob. That is confirmed. We're still waiting for photographic proof, but I'm going by his word.
We're also wondering why we weren't in the wedding or even invited. I mean, it just seems crazy, but I mean,
bachelor party. Come on,
any of this. Brian Gerber, $5. Ozzie limping off the field with that injury. In contrast, Green Bay's offensive line 10-second runoff is a summary of this game. It's a great point.
Yeah, we talked about that briefly earlier.
Braggs was texting me about it too, and so if Braggs is watching now, we did address it earlier. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
There you go.
$5. I don't know how to say that one either. Matt LaFleur, never heard of her.
The rivalry is alive and well.
$7 Canadian money. While these last-minute wins are undeniably entertaining, what will it actually take to get more consistent execution? Matthew, let's hold that thought. We're going to talk about it all week. Got more shows coming up. I think it's a fair question, though. Another $2 from Brian Gerber. Ben John, snow is king in the north. Bear down.
You know the reference? You know the reference. Game of Thrones, man.
Okay, I never watched Game of
on.
Thrones. I never watched Game of Thrones. Sorry.
It's where the king of the north take the north. That's where it comes
Yeah,
from.
I get the gif. I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Was that all of them?
That's it. Thank you, everybody.
Yep. So much more to break down. We will be back. I guess we'll be back Wednesday. This usually would have been our Monday morning episode. So we'll be back on Wednesday, our midweek episode. We'll find out who they're playing. I'd be shocked if it's not Sunday. Little nugget: the last 4 years, both one seeds have played on Saturday in the divisional round weekend. And come on, with this Bears story at this point and what they're probably doing for ratings, be shocked if it's not Sunday. But we'll probably have that known by tonight. Even though there's one more game tomorrow, I think they'll probably have that all. These teams got to know when they're playing. So, and no matter who it is, whether it's the Rams or the Eagles, we'll have you covered all week long. Midweek episode coming out Wednesday, preview episode on Friday. One more week, one more game, at least, maybe more. Thank you all for being here. Hit that like button. Please hit subscribe on the way out. Huge audience. I don't know where this will end up ranking in the history of the show in terms of the numbers, but I imagine it'll be pretty high up there. Make sure you come on back on Wednesday for our next episode as well. You can listen to us as a podcast here on YouTube. Wherever you get your podcast, go hit subscribe there. Download those. Take us on the go. That's how we used to do the show before there was video. We still do it that way. And we always have the podcast listeners in mind. The merch is also up, allchgo.com. You can get the Hoge Jahns collection. There's plenty more up there as well. We will talk to you once we know the opponent and start breaking down the divisional round on Wednesday.
See ya.